So I've tried filming this video like 3 times now. Hello everybody, this is the Not So Serious, and today I'm going to be ranting about my college. I'm not saying that college is bad, but I'm saying that my college, it's questionable. So you know, a lot of people are gonna want to go to college, get a degree, and get their career job so that they don't have to work in fast food for the rest of their life or stuff like that. And you know, like, I'm one of those people, but I kind of wish I went to a different college than the one that I'm going to. I'm going to college so that I can be some type of artist, preferably like graphic designer or photographer. That's the 2 things that I'm kind of like mostly focused on studying right now. I know like lots of people will like research what colleges they want to go to, but since I'm a Mormon, there's several colleges that are Mormon owned, and they are really easy to get into. Well, not all of them. They're easier for like Mormons to get into and stuff like that. And once I graduated high school, my parents convinced me to immediately apply for one of the colleges, and I got accepted. It was the only college I ended up applying to because I didn't want to go to college right away. I wanted to stay home and work. So I chose my major, got accepted, and I was honestly pretty excited because I've always wanted to do like digital art stuff. I don't want to be like an illustrator. I'm really bad at trying to illustrate everything I can draw. I really like the idea of like graphic design and stuff because it's, I don't know, it sounded something that I would be good with and sounded something like I would want to do. I really just want to drop out at this point. No offense, mom and dad, but this college has honestly destroyed my confidence in being an artist. Now, I'm not saying that like I think I'm a bad artist and oh my gosh, don't compliment my art because it's not good, but I thought I was capable at least doing it, you know? But this college makes me feel like I need to find a different career path or something, but at the same time, they make it nearly impossible to do so. Like, they put a credit cap on you, so once you get to a certain amount of credits, you're not allowed to change your major, and I've already passed it, so. And for some reason, the college decided that if you're a graphic design major, you're not allowed to minor in anything, so I'm just taking a bunch of other random art classes to try seeing if there was something else I wanted to do. And then this past summer, just a few weeks ago, I was asked to make a logo for a family friend, and I started watching more YouTube tutorials on how to make graphic design stuff, and I started finding all of my confidence back. Like, it's crazy, like, how the college is dragging me down. And then like the internet shows me how to actually do craft and makes me feel like I can, and I feel like that's not right. There's quite a few things that this college has done in its graphic design department that's made me feel like I should quit, but I'm just going to start off with the very first thing that happened, which was the like major punch in the face, and then everything just kind of went downhill from there. So as a freshman, I was excited, like, woo, graphic design, and so I took an intro to graphic design class. Now, intro to graphic design, if you're a graphic designer major, you are required to take the class, obviously, but other kids with different majors, whether they're an art major at all, they're allowed to take it as well. And something that this college does is that it's a small college, and so therefore it finds the need to get rid of all of the fun classes and then make it to where you can only take certain classes if it's in your major, or if it's a beginner class in another major, then you can like take it. So it's very like, you're not allowed to learn everything that you want. Like, you can't go to this college to kind of explore things and try to find what you want to do. You're not allowed to do that here. I find it more of a setup for failure, in my opinion, but anyways, getting off topic already, sorry. In the intro to graphic design class, we start like, you know, learning like super basic stuff. We don't want to do anything like too like advanced because obviously not everyone in the intro to graphic design class is going to be a graphic designer. However, I don't find that nearly a good enough excuse of the way that things were taught in that class. So we start learning like really simple things, like things you can do in art to make your piece more interesting, like leading lines and using the golden rule and stuff like that, and that's normal, you know? And then we start trying to learn how to use the programs more. So we're learning that the main things of how we're gonna make any of our graphic design art is gonna be almost always on Photoshop or Illustrator. So we start learning how to kind of use the programs. And I have no idea how to use them. I've never really used them before. I've tried. Is my camera too bright? So I have no idea how to use any of these programs. I'm excited to learn. Like, I really have a strong passion of like, I want to learn this. I think the first thing we learned was like Illustrator. So we first learned how to use like the ellipse tool and the pen tool. And we're doing like these small exercise things like, oh, here's a picture, use a pen tool to copy it and stuff like that. And that's normal. That was kind of it. They didn't expand our knowledge on anything more than that. Yeah, it's an intro to graphic design class, but just because you're not a graphic designer, it's not going to be helpful to know how to use the tools in the program. I just don't think it was right that we only learned how to use basically 2 tools in Illustrator, and then that was it, and they expected us to do everything else on our own. I don't know. Eventually, after that, we are given our first like major assignment. We've been doing like sort of like smaller assignments, like just kind of playing with like the ellipse tools and the pen tool. Now we're asked to do a bit of a bigger assignment. So the assignment is that we're going to be making a logo. And how it's going to be is we're going to make up a company and then make the logo for the company we made up. And everybody's going to like do their own individual thing. Like every individual person will make up their own company and make up their own logo. So in order to make our company, we're given 2 lists. So the first list is the type of company that we want to have, whether it's going to be like a bookstore, a clothing store, a cafe, or something like that. And then we're required to have a theme for it. The list of themes that we could choose were like stars, food, animals, stuff like that. There was like a bigger list, but I can't remember every single one of them at the top of my head. It was like 2 years ago. So I personally chose a bookstore with a star theme. I didn't really like get the whole theme part at first, but then I was like, you know, it is just an exercise. It's probably just like supposed to help us start jogging our creativity so that we can like have more of like a simple basis of where to start off of. Because let's be real, most stores that you know of don't have like a theme to it, you know? It's just what the store is and like a random logo. For example, Wendy's is a fast food restaurant that sells burgers, nuggets, fries, and its logo is a girl with red hair, braided pigtails. Like, there's no theme to that, really. Like, it's just Wendy's. It's a girl, her name, that's it. With that kind of like mindset of mine that like, you know, the logo can kind of be like whatever it is. It's the name of what your company is. You just need to make it good, you know? I start making like word charts, trying to figure out what I want to name my company. The first thing that obviously comes to mind is it's a bookstore with stars. Star books. Like, no. I wanted to be more creative than that, and so I decided I wanted to do a constellation for the star, because it's still technically star. It's in the star theme, okay? A constellation would work. And then I realized that zodiac signs also have constellations, and so I ended up picking Libra because it also goes along with like knowledge and justice, I think. And so that also worked with books, and I thought that would be really cool, and so I chose the word Libra as my star theme part of it. And then for books, I didn't really want to use the word books. I wanted to be more creative than that. Like, I was very much like pumped for this, and I was willing to put effort into it, you know? And so I'm choosing the word shelf because you put books on it, like a bookshelf or something like that. And so I came up with the title Libra Shelf, and I was very proud of that. Let me tell you, I suck at making names for anything, and so the fact that I came up with that, I was very proud of myself. I felt very creative. I felt like they had like little secret meetings and they worked, you know? But then I bring it to class, and we're all divided up into groups. We all go to like tables of like 4 people, and we show each other like what we made, and we like critique each other. I also came up with a couple sketches of what I wanted kind of like the logo to be. A lot of them used the Libra sign, some of them had a couple stars, some of them had books, some of them were, I tried to make them a little bit different. I kind of wanted not to really have too much of an actual picture logo. I was more envisioning of a more typography based logo. That's kind of what I was going for more. I bring it all to class. We're critiquing each other. Everybody's kind of afraid of saying something bad to each other, so everyone's like, oh, that's good. Oh, hey, maybe you can like add this to it or something. That's good. You know, stuff like that. So there was a girl, she had a ice cream shop with like a weather theme, I believe. Hers is pretty cute. Another guy had decided to do like a grocery store, and he legit copied a real life logo, and I don't think the teacher even noticed. And then there was another guy, and he had a different type of logo. I don't remember what his was. They are all like decent, but one thing that I noticed is like you would never see a logo like the ones we made, except for the guy who copied one, but you never see the logos that we made on our own like anywhere, because the stuff that we made was very like mediocre. I was like, I wanted to be better than that. I was excited to like go home, make more sketches, and try to like make something more creative. Well, the teacher comes, she looks at the other students at my table, and she like was like, oh, this is good. Oh, maybe you should like do this and this. Oh, I like these sketches that you made the best. You should like focus on these ones. And she gave them like, I remember it specifically being like pretty positive critique. Well, she gets to mine and she looks at the title and she's like, what's a Libra? How the do you not know what a Libra is? What? And then like she's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, a Libra is a zodiac sign which has a constellation, which is my star theme, and books go on a shelf, and I chose that, so it's Libra shelf. She's like, oh, well, it's not obvious enough. I need to know what your company and your theme is just by looking at the name and looking at the logo individually. What? Let me backtrack. Wendy's. If you looked at the Wendy's logo and the title individually and didn't know what Wendy's sold, you would not know what they sold. The name and the logo is the identity of it. It does not define what it is. The logo does not mean that they sell little girls with red pigtails, okay? Like, that's wrong. They just sell fast food. And you're saying that I need to create a logo that's super obvious for you? I was infuriated by that. And then she goes on and critiques my sketches, and she only picks the sketches that I made that included like a book shape, and it's like, you should focus on these ones. I guess like this is where my confidence is starting to like drop, because I worked so hard to be like creative and different. I'm told that it's not good enough, like at all, because it's not obvious enough. What kind of teacher are you? I thought this is art. You're supposed to be creative. Maybe that's why she ended up becoming a teacher, because she couldn't make it out in the real world. So then I go home, I'm bummed, and I just make more logos that have books in them. I think she might have advised to try to making the title a bit more obvious, and I honestly drew the line there. I was like, I'm not doing that. And I just kept the title how it was, and I'm glad I did, because, you know, it was something that I made that was actually creative. I'm not saying I can't take critique. I took some other classes where the teachers gave actually good critique, but I'm saying like the crap that she was saying was so like unreasonable to being an actual graphic designer. Crow just bumped my tripod, sorry about that. So then we have to make 10 digital logos and print them out on a piece of paper and come so that we can critique the whole class. And so I'm trying to make the logos, and I'm realizing that the pen tool and the ellipse tool are not working for me. In the little exercise things that we did, you know, Crow, you're blocking my light. Hi, Crow. In the little exercise things that we did, you know, they worked, but at the same time, they were so simplistic. So now that I'm trying to do something a little more on a higher level, it's not working. Like, I need to know how to use some of these other tools, but guess what? We didn't learn how to use anything else except the ellipse tool and the pen tool. So I emailed the teacher, because they advise us to like email them if we have any problems or anything. I asked her for help, and I don't remember if I got a reply or not, but I remember I asked her again in class, and I was like, hey, I need help. I'm trying to make these logos in the computer and it's not working. What can I do? She said, figure it out and play with the program. I did not come to college to spend thousands of dollars to be told to figure it out. I get that college is where you kind of like teach yourself some things, but when it comes to this, that's bullcrap. All my life, as trying to be an artist, I see my friends like doing something cool and artistic, and I want to learn how to do it as well, and I would ask them whether it's like a digital art thing or like traditional art thing. They always said, just play with the thing and figure it out yourself. That's what I had to do growing up. Coming to college and being told the same thing, but having to spend thousands of dollars to be told that is not right. Sorry, that just makes me really angry. So, I'm stuck, and I don't know what to do. And I'm still trying to make these mediocre logos. The sketches were okay, alright? Like, they looked decent. But once I tried making them on the computer without any help at all, they looked even worse. And I just felt so terrible. I felt like I couldn't do anything. We get to class, I have my paper with my printed out 10 logos that I'm not happy with. So, how we did this is, say this is a table. We have some people sitting on this side, like half the class sits on one side and the other half of the class sits on this side. Well, people on like this side, we rotate, and we rotate until we've met everybody with on this side of the table. So we're kind of like critiquing like half the class, I guess, but like it's super involved or whatever. I don't know. I talk with some people, you know, we do whatever. Well, after going to like one or two other people, I come to this other person and I realize they have the same store and theme as me. They have a star-themed bookstore, just like I do. I was like, oh, hey, I have the same thing as you. And they're like, oh, great. Do you want to show first, or do you want me to show my stuff? Or it's like, oh, I can show first. So I show mine. One of the first things that this person said was, what's a Libra? I don't understand how uncultured these Mormons are. So I have to explain it, and she goes, oh, well, it's not that obvious. There's nowhere in the instructions of this assignment that said that this had to be obvious enough for a 2-year-old to know what it was. So apparently the teacher's going around saying that it needs to be obvious, apparently. Well, she could have written that in the instructions, and maybe it'd just be an assignment to just make us have obvious logos for a start or something, but that's not what it was. It was just the teacher saying, make it obvious. And then the person shows their logo. Their store was called Star Books. Starbucks. Like, what? No! And their logo was almost the exact same. Their logo was mainly a picture of a book, but their logo was a book with a star on the book, and then the title Starbucks right next to it. What? And the teacher got on me for saying Libra's shelf. Basically, this class, you're not allowed to be creative if you want to pass it. So we end up switching, and I get to some other people that actually know what a Libra is, and they, you know, they compliment me on the creativity. And there was one guy, he actually had a really cute design, like, I don't remember what it was, but it was an animal-themed clothing store for kids, and it was like, and the logo was like an octopus holding buttons, but they looked like they were supposed to be bubbles, and I thought it was super cute. But I noticed that the execution of it was really mediocre, and it's because of the lack of guidance we were given with how to use the program. Now, his idea was very cute, and I highly like commended him on it. I was like, I love your idea. But he did not have the guidance that he needed, except for figure it out on how to use the program. That was the only flaw with like his. But like, I'm saying that like not everybody was a complete crap hole in that class. It was just most of it and the teacher, okay? And then I get to another person that also has a star-themed bookstore. And I was like, okay, here's mine. You know, we talked about it a little bit. They knew what a Libra was. Then they showed me theirs. Theirs is called Shooting Star Books. And their logo is a book with a shooting star going right, like, over the book like a rainbow. Why is this being encouraged and not trying to push yourself? Like, these logos and these store titles have no creativity, and no one's pushing them to do it. And I'm sorry, I'm not a teacher, so it's not my job to try to push you to be more creative. Especially when the teacher is telling you to dumb it down for everyone, dumb it down for her, apparently. And then I get to another person that has a star-themed bookstore. Now let me tell you, no one else had a repeat. Or like maybe like one or two other people like had a repeat of like, oh, I had an animal-themed cafe just like you. But then it was only those two. A good like third of the class apparently chose the star-themed bookstore, and everyone's title had the word star and book in it, and all the logos had a book with a star in it. They were all almost identical and terrible. This girl, I don't like her at this point in the class. At the end of the class, we became like friends and I liked her. But at this point, she had been constantly bragging about, oh, I've done graphic design classes before. I know what I'm doing. Oh, I know how to do that. I've done that before. Like, she was constantly bragging all the time to where it got like annoying because she always constantly spoke up about it, and it's just like, goodness, shut up. So apparently she also had a star-themed bookstore. Fantastic. I think she showed me her things first. And let me tell you, I don't remember exactly the title, but I remember it had the word star and book in it. I remember exactly how her logo looked like. Insert picture here of my drawing of it. 3, 2, 1. Why is this being encouraged? Oh my gosh. It was so bad. It was so bad. And like, I overheard her talking with the teacher just before me or something. The teacher was saying it was good. No, it's not good at all. So then at the end of the whole like assignments, I made mine a really simple like sideways open book with the title like Libra's Shelf. I kind of just gave up at that point because I was so fed up with this assignments. And then every assignment after that, I didn't try. I felt like we couldn't be creative. I felt like we weren't allowed to push ourselves. We were constantly being told to take steps back, steps that we were at when we were like 3 years old, you know? And just like the constant like being torn down for trying to do something more with art and being told, no, don't do that. No, that's, you can't do that. But, oh, if you want to do something better, figure it out yourself. Like, I kind of just lost hope at that point. And so then I still wanted to do graphic design for some reason, but I just, at the same time, I felt like I couldn't do it. So I then take some other classes. I get better critique and I feel a bit more confident in myself. I found a better teacher. He really pushed for creativity. Like, he's always telling you that like there is something more that you can always do. And I felt better about that, but I still, this college doesn't offer any knowledge or any education on how to use Adobe programs. So we're using Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, and none of the classes will teach you how to use it. I've looked up if they have individual classes that are specifically just to learn the programs. They do, but it's the exact same knowledge that we learned in the Intro to Graphic Design class. So basically, they don't offer it. I feel stuck at this college. I've taken other graphic design like classes and it's honestly all the same. It's not great. It makes you feel like you can't do it, basically. It makes you feel like you're wasting your time. Like, I started looking into other things, like if I wanted to change my major, but then I realized that I couldn't. But I'm taking a bunch of photography classes right now because I'm actually kind of learning that. I'm not sure if it's the whole college that's complete crap. It might just be the graphic design department because I took the photography classes and I'm learning stuff in them. Being an art major for graphic design here has made me feel like I can't do it and that I should give up and that I want to drop out. Like, I'm at the point where I kind of just want to switch around the classes I need to take so that I can just graduate with an associate's and get out of here, because I'm learning more of how to use the programs and how to really like execute things and be more creative on YouTube than I am spending thousands of dollars at college. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to college, because there are other colleges that are so much better than the one I'm going to, because I've looked on YouTube and I've looked at other people that show stuff that they've made in their graphic design classes at their colleges, and I'm so envious. I want to learn what they're learning, but I can't because it's not offered here, and I just feel stuck. That was my rant on college, or my college. And before you ever go to college, please look up the programs that you want to go to and if it's any good at the college you're going to, because I'm basically stuck here until I graduate. Other people will say there's other alternatives like transfer colleges or do this and that. There's other things in my life that kind of are in the way of me being able to do any of that, so I'm honestly stuck at this college. So please research the college and the programs that you want before you stick yourself into it. Yes, thanks for watching me scream and rant about my college and how I hate the education that I'm getting because it's like almost nothing. Hopefully you learn from my mistakes. If you like this rant, like, subscribe, comment, do whatever, and maybe I'll see you in the next video. Bye.